Hello peeps, how you doing? Mark's Mods, good evening mate. Welcome to the stream. Make sure my mic little bar thing is moving, so hopefully you can all hear me. I am moving on my screen, so all looks good. Good evening, hope you're doing alright. Welcome to Saturday Squirting Live, actually on the Saturday and not on the Thursday this time. Hopefully my internet will not play up like it did on Thursday night. Fingers crossed. Hope you've all had a good week. So let's get straight into it, shall we? So if I switch to that camera. Evening, mate. Had dinner early so I could settle down with you. Ah, bless. Good evening, Dennis. Not too bad, mate. Could be better, could be worse. Today was the last day at work, so I'm officially unemployed now, which hopefully won't be very long, but we shall see. Hello, stream everyone. Good evening. Welcome to my stream. Right, so this is as far as we got last time. So I started on Thursday. If you weren't with us, evening Kenneth. If you weren't with us on Thursday, I started putting on some of this Liquitex Burnt Sienna, just to darken in some bits, add some shadows, etc., etc. Only a bit though. I kept it subtle, because if I went in too heavy with that brown, it would have completely changed their skin tone totally. So less is more, as they say, with that one. And now I'm thinking of starting to do a bra and the darker parts. On the reference picture, it's a black lacy bra with red bits, but I'm not going to go in with just black, because that would look a bit odd. So I'm going to start with Createx Illustration Cobalt Blue. So I'm going to start with that one and then work my way down to the black, so that it's just not a solid mass of black, because that would just look a bit odd. So give this a good old shake. Grab my trusty airbrush, and I'll really want some control over this, so I will be quite heavily reducing it. Get that dry stuff off the end of it, because I don't want that in my paint cup. That could cause me problems. Cool, that's a good bottle. Isn't it funny how some bottles sometimes the plastic is thicker than others, and you can't physically squeeze them very well at all. This bottle's really thick. Right, so I've gone for 3 drops of that into the old paint cup. I'm going to double up on the reducer, so I'm going to put 6 drops of the old reducer in. And then, just for good measure, that's filled up probably about, you can't see it, I haven't got enough light. That's about filled up my paint cup halfway, and then the other half I'm just going to fill up with water. So it's nice and runny. So what you guys been up to since we last streamed? Anything exciting? In true me fashion, I've gone and got it all over my hand, because I'm a mucky bugger. There we go. Remove that cap off to end. Put that somewhere safe. Okay. Good evening, Buck Rogers. Oh look, I've just put paint all over my face, haven't I? It's going well, isn't it? Where'd that come from? God dear. Okay, so let's start with the bra strap here. So if I zoom in a bit, zoom, just like that, ankle that down ever so slightly. Here we go. Stop that from wobbling, he says. Alrighty, so here's where I get a big spit and it puts blue all over her skin tone. So I'm keeping the airbrush pretty close to the paper, so I've got quite a focused spray. Of course, if I've got the airbrush quite far away, it's going to put a really big and quite close to really focus my spray. Since I'm putting a spray booth together so I can take a leaf out of your book and spray in the living room. Hey, sweet! A cooker hood, mate. You know the hoods that go over cookers to suck up the fumes and all that lot. They are fantastic for spray booths and relatively cheap. They can be a bit noisy, but yeah, they're incredible, and most of them come with a carbon filter as well, so you can use solvents and stuff and the carbon filter will get rid of some of the stink for you. Good evening, Steve. Could not believe Word of Rain ended up in hospital with an allergic reaction to penicillin. Oh, was it penicillin? Last time, I haven't spoken to him for a couple of days, and last time I spoke to him, he still didn't know what it was that made him have that reaction. Yeah, that's bad, because he knows that he's allergic to penicillin, I believe. I think he's mentioned it before. So I wonder how that sneaked in, because he's normally very careful with that sort of thing. Hope he's feeling better now, though. So I'm hoping that using blue rather than black, one will look a bit more subtle. Black would just be very strong and really in your face. But also will give this black strap like a, almost like a silky sheen, where it's going to go from black to blue. Hopefully. That's the plan anyway. I guess I've got a cooker hood and an extraction hose from the place that sounds like a rainforest. 50 quid for both. That's good. That's good. I obviously we're going back about, what, 10-15 years, but I paid 80 quid I think it was for my cooker hood, and it's still in the shed, and sadly it's probably rusted to hell by now. Right, so it's got a lacy bit that goes across the top here. It's got no real pattern to it though, so all I'm going to do is just do like figure of 8 pattern. Let's zoom out a bit so you can still see what I'm doing. There we go. So yeah, I'm just doing like a sideways at that sort of angle, figure of 8 pattern all across here, just to create like a texture. It's got like a band of lace across the top edge of her bra there, so it's got like a little pattern there. So rather than trying to replicate the pattern, because you can't really see what it is in the picture that I've taken of her, let's just do these figures of 8. And it gives you a nice little texture like that. Texture like that. Then we've got like a little leaf shape that comes up there. And that is about it for all the black on there. Okay, so now we'll just darken bits down a bit. So like this bit here is going to need to be really, really dark. That's why I'll put some black. It'll fade to blue, go into black again there, up to blue there, so the blue will be viewable where the highlights are, sort of thing. So that could do being a bit darker there. Like so. Then the strap that goes around her back. Go on camera, that bit. Is pretty much all lacy stuff, and it looks like it's all basically black, but I'll do it blue first. I can't wait to see your approach for the tattoos, especially since you have to do them with a single needle. Yeah, I'm used to using more than one needle. and it doesn't spit the ink everywhere normally. Did a wolf on a forearm today for my last tattoo at that shop. Where's my gallery camera? There you go. Did that today. It was his first tattoo as well. He did really well, bless him. So what we got? There's a band that comes down here like that. And then all this has got like a lacy pattern in it. Got a thick bit here. What, you're no longer at the shop? No, mate. Monday lunchtime-ish, we were informed by the landlord that she's given up the place and that we had to get out. And we had until today, basically. I mean, I've got to go in on Monday morning and pick up the rest of my stuff, but yeah, we're out. The boss is currently looking for another shop. He might have one. He may have one sorted out. He's just doing the whole thing with the estate agents and all that lot. But as of right now, this very second, I am unemployed until we get a new shop, which is a bit of a bugger. So if anybody wants any airbrush commissions, give me a shout. So again, just did the figure of eights in there just to create a bit of texture, make it look a bit lacy. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, it does suck a bit, but what can you do? You know, the our little tattoo shop was in a back room in a barber shop. And the barber shop has been empty since October, so they've been losing money hand over fist on that place for a long time, and then it just got to the point where they're like, you know what, we can't afford to keep it. Sucks that they gave us 5 days notice though. They could have given us a bit more notice, but never mind. It is what it is. Life goes on. There are plenty of people in the world right now who have got much bigger problems than me. Half-price tattoos in the shed, yo. Do you know what? I rent this house from my local council, and we're not allowed to run a business from home. And the shedio has no roof. It got damaged in that recent storm. Always something good around the corner. Hang in there, dude. Yeah, cheers, Steve. That's the way I'm looking at it. You know, it's not the end of the world. We will survive. Like I say, there's plenty of people in the world right now who don't even have a roof over their head. So I'm not complaining too much. Okay, that'll do that bit. Then we've got her other booby, which is up there. Now this one is all in shadow because the light is coming from the top right. So this part of the bra is all in shadow from her arm. So this is going to be really dark. You can just see a hint of red here on the reference photo, but all the rest is pretty much dark. But so it doesn't look odd, I'm going to do it all blue first, just so it ties in with everything else. If I did those bits blue first and then just did black on here, it might look a bit odd. So we'll start with the blue, even though I'm probably going to cover most of it with the black. I love not masking stuff off. You have to be extra careful that you don't ruin stuff, like going up to the edge of the arm and all that lot, but so much nicer not masking anything off and just going for it. The steel industry did the same for most of my family from the late 70s till present time. You wouldn't believe the empty shops throughout the city. Yeah. Eastleigh, where my tattoo shop was, it's insane. I walked down the high street earlier today and practically every other shop is empty. It's just nuts. But they're all asking like 25 grand a year rent, and people just can't afford that, like us. And they're like 1,000 square feet. We need 300 square feet tops. But it's like we're a small business. We can't afford 20 grand a year rent. If landlords would, these buildings have been sat there empty for month after month. Some of them I know have been empty for the last couple of years. And you would have thought, surely, if you just drop your rent and get somebody in there, all right, you're going to lose a bit of money, but at least you're getting something, Something is better than nothing. Even if you drop the rent down to like 15 grand a year or something, that's 15 grand a year you weren't getting otherwise. So I don't know why the landlords are just leaving their buildings empty to go derelict. It's a bit baffling to me. I'm sure there's a reason. I've never been a landlord, so I don't know. There must be a reason for it. It can't just be greed or what have you. But it does baffle me. I don't know why. If it was me, I would just lower the rent and take the hit, and I'd have something coming in every month rather than nothing. Was up from the big C, that's so true. Why they are empty. Greetings from northern Illinois, outside Chicago. We have a lot of empty shops here too. Good evening, Ash. Welcome to the stream. Bit cold, is it? It's all warm and wet in the UK at the moment. Well, not that warm, but it's not that cold either. It could be worse. All the spring flowers are starting to pop up from the floor. The evenings are getting lighter. Spring is on the way. That's that fairly dark. It looks like there's a texture on it as well. Yeah, there's like a lacy texture on it, but you really can't see it very well at all. Just going to do some like seaweed shapes on it because it's a bit big for the figure of eights. So I'll just do some. It looks like a pattern that goes up, so I'll just do some like seaweedy swirls. I mean, you're not really going to see much there, just a hint of some sort of detail there. Nice, it's about -7 here. Yeah, that's cold. Go, I feel for you, mate. I hate being cold. The clocks go forward next week. It doesn't seem 2 minutes since I went. Really? Wow. Wow, so we lose an hour's sleep next week. Wow. But you mentioned being in the boondocks, quite away from the big cities, London for example. I would imagine there is a lot of work there. Yeah, London is about 60 miles from me. I'm in a little town just outside Winchester, down by the Isle of Wight, and like the bottom half of the UK. And yeah, I could go get a job in my local co-op if I needed to. I wouldn't like it, but I would do it. You're going to have to take one for the team and go back to photographing pretty naked ladies. That would be alright if I ever got paid for it, mate. It always cost me to do that. I've tried selling prints and photography and never sold a single one. I think the universe is trying to tell me something there. Right, so that's all the blue there, I reckon. We've got another strap up here. So let's give you all motion sickness again. There's another strap hiding there. Again, that's going to be mostly black, I should imagine, but we'll put some blue in there anyway. There might be a hint of blue showing just on that little highlighted bit there. I'm in northern Quebec, 4 feet of snow, -10 degrees. Not bad. Winter is almost out. That is really cold. 4 feet of snow. Jeez. I don't think I've ever seen that much snow. The worst I think it's ever got here in my lifetime is probably a couple of foot, if that. And that was when I was a little lad. We've certainly not had any significant snow since then. Maybe a couple of inches or something. But the UK can't handle it. As soon as we get like a dusting of snow, people freak out. They can't drive in it, so there's loads of accidents. They panic buy at the shops because they think they're not going to be able to go anywhere. We're quite embarrassing when it comes to snowfall. I should imagine the rest of the world found it quite amusing the last time we had a bit of snow and we all started to freak out. Oh, I hit the camera, sorry. So that's that one there. So there we go. She now has a bra. Hooray. Generally average 6 feet and negative 20 foot. God. My God, that's cold. The, when was it? Last year? Year before? I remember we reached minus, I think it was about minus 12 one night. And that was unbelievable. There was water pipes bursting all over the place. And you name it. It was terrible. The UK just isn't built for extreme weather. We just can't handle it. We're used to just being a bit warm and wet. And that's about it. We're not used to all these extreme weather events. Well, what I call extreme weather. It's regular weather to some of you. But... Right, so I'm done with the blue. Just cleaning out Mr. Airbrush. Like so. Now I'm going to go in with some illustration black. And again, I'm going to reduce it about the same. So I'm going to put in 3 drops of the black, 6 drops of the reducer, and fill the rest up with water. So it's nice and runny. It's okay, just takes a month and a half to melt away. Wow. I was going to say it can be quite entertaining watching how English perform with a bit of snow. Yes, it can be very entertaining. Yeah, some people's reactions is very comical. The Canadians go play hockey outside with that, nothing stops. Yeah, see, we get just like a little dusting and everything stops. People don't go to work, you don't get deliveries, we just freak out. We don't like it. Right, so that's 3 drops of the old black. Managed to get some on my finger again, because I'm good at that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops of the reducer. And fill up the other half of the paint pot with some good old H. Give that a good shake. Now I might add just a couple of drops of blue into this black, but we'll see how it goes, see what it looks like. So this strap here is going to be pretty much, so we'll do it over on this bit first. Let's zoom you in so you can have a closer look. Zoom. And move you up a bit, like that. So there's a hint of blue there that follows that highlight, and then around about that knuckle there, it just goes black all the way up. If my airbrush sprayed. I haven't got a blockage in there. Yeah, that looks cool. I don't think I'll add a drop of blue into the black. If it looked too black, if it looked like there was too much of a colour difference between the blue and the black and it didn't fade together very well, then you could have added a drop or two of blue into the black just to shift the hue slightly more towards blue, although technically black is blue anyway. There's no such colour as black, so it's either made with brown or blue. 90% of the time it's made with blue. Same with white, if you didn't know that. So tattooing over airbrushing, what is your favourite? Ooh, tattooing for the money, airbrushing for the art. I think that's going to be the best way to put it, I think. Tattooing has earned me way more money than airbrushing ever has. But I get frustrated sometimes with the tattooing that I can't tattoo to the same level that I can airbrush. You can't achieve the same sort of stuff on skin that you can on paper. I spent a few weeks staying in Christchurch learning about turbocharging engines. It's a lovely place. Ah, yeah. It's been a long time since I went to Christchurch. I was in my teens last time I was there. And I'm really old, so that was a long time ago. Well, so that's that strap. So, oh, I whistled. Move this down. A little bit more. Zoom out a little bit. Just like that. Good evening, John. How's it going, buddy? Hope all is good. Yeah, going back to the question on airbrushing versus tattooing. Although I used to be full time with the airbrushing, I've never been able to support my family with it. I've never earned enough on it. It's just not popular enough over here, and especially because I was doing the guitars. You know, you have to strip them back, then wood fill them sometimes, prime them, base coat, then you do the artwork, then you've got to clear coat them, which, you know, takes days on its own. So by the time you've finished, you've spent a good, if the artwork was detailed, then you know, I'd spend a good 200 hours on a guitar, and nobody was willing to pay any more than about, I think the most I ever got for a guitar was £600, but the majority of people would pay like £400 for a guitar paint job. And if it's a £100 guitar, they're not going to pay for a £400 paint job on it. So I never made any decent sort of money with the airbrushing. Never have. And the tattooing, although I still don't make a fortune, I make way more than I ever have with the airbrushing. So you do what you got to do to provide for your family, don't you? I'm just very, very lucky that it's something that I enjoy. You know, there are a lot of people out there who go to jobs every single day that they hate, and I'm in a very, very lucky position that I'm doing something, or I was doing something that I love. Back in the 80s I was doing motorcycles and I got so detailed I priced myself out of the business. Yeah, I think that's what happened with me really. I was doing more and more extravagant work on guitars, and I was getting quite a name for it without trying to sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet. And I was starting to get noticed by guitar collectors who, you know, more like art collectors. So rather than having a guitar to play, it would be a display piece. So it was like highly detailed artwork on these things, and they were just going to go in on someone's wall. Or, I mean, one of them ended up in like this guy's private guitar museum. So, you know, that's perfect because they're the people who like to spend the big bucks. But, yeah, it just got to the point where I was having to charge so much for a paint job, and the guitar was worth a fraction of what I was asking to airbrush it, and it just wasn't sustainable. I ended up doing hardly any work at all. And then I got offered a tattoo apprenticeship when I went on the school run once. I wasn't looking for one. I'd looked for one before, couldn't find one, and kind of gave up on the idea because they're not easy to come by. And yeah, got into the airbrushing, was doing that for a few years, and then one day on the school run got chatting to a guy, and turned out he was opening up his own tattoo studio, and I ended up being his apprentice. So it's funny how life turns out. Not bad, mate. You okay? Yeah, not bad, John. Could always be worse, mate. Just talked to the good wife. Maybe move closer to the big city. Less of a commute. Surely London has lots of need for tattooers. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of tattoo studios in London. They are everywhere. And Eastleigh, where I was, there's only 2. So we kind of had the market cornered, really. You know, there's not much competition. And luckily, the other studio in Eastleigh, I'm really good friends with them. They're a couple of lasses who run it, and they're lovely. One of them, Heidi, she used to do airbrushing. He's been a friend for many years. Right, so that's that bit darkened down. This bit has got a lot of light on it. You can see a lot of the red. You can hardly see any of the red on this bit. That's why I went quite heavy with the blue. But on this bit, you can see quite a bit of the red. So that's why I've left a lot of the white paper showing through. It'd make a big splash where I'm from in Brooklyn, New York. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd love to go to New York. Visit all the Ghostbusters filming sets. You know, visit the Ghostbusters firehouse. Old Hook and Ladder number 8. All that lot. I'll get there one day. New York at Christmas, that'd be nice. No, London, it's full of tattooists. Believe I can go to 6 shops within 10 minutes walk from my house. Southampton is the same. Which is just down the road from Eastleigh, if you don't know. Yeah, there's tattooists in every single street in Southampton. I don't know how they all keep busy. But there must be an awful lot of people who live in Southampton. There's a lot of skin going around. Put a bit more texture in that bit. It looks a bit bare compared to the other one. I pass that building every day. Ah, so jealous. If I went there, I would probably run up and give the building a big hug and then get some very strange looks. Maybe you should go your book there if it's close to you. Yeah, it's Southampton's only a little bit further down the road than Eastleigh, but I don't know, too much competition. Eastleigh, like I say, only has 2 tattooists, including us, so it'll be good to find a shop in Eastleigh again, I think. Plus, that's where my client base is. You know, I've got all my clients are from Eastleigh, so it makes sense to open up a shop again there. Otherwise, you'd be starting from scratch again, you know. Or jack in the tattooing and become a famous airbrusher. I think you have to be in America to earn any sort of decent living from airbrushing, though. We just don't have the market for it over here, sadly. I'd love to visit Southampton docks where the Titanic was docked. Yeah, I've although it's just half an hour down the road from me, I've never actually been. And when I was doing my driving lessons all those years ago, I did the old intensive course, and I just spent 6 hours a day driving all the way around the Southampton dockyards and all that lot. Never stopped to have a look though. Was it in a tattoo shop in Florida? A guy inking me from Bristol. Oh wow, how cool is that? You go from Bristol to Florida. That's the thing. If you haven't got a family or no responsibilities or whatever, being a tattooist is amazing. I mean, you could go travelling around the world and just do guest spots at loads of different tattoo studios to pay your way, sort of thing. It's an amazing job. It's got one of the biggest profit margins going. I think I read somewhere that they reckon that even with the extortionate price of gloves and ink and all that at the moment, tattooing still has something like a 70% profit margin or something, which not many professions can say. So it's an ideal profession if you want to go travelling. Or if you're an old fart like me who's not very mobile because you sit on your backside all day. I think there's a Spitfire museum in Southampton. That rings a bell, Dennis. I think you might be right there. That rings a bell in my head. So, yeah, we had a conversation today on UK Airbrush From about profit airbrushing in the UK. Yeah, I nearly commented on that, Brian. But my dinner was ready, so I didn't. In Brooklyn, your accent alone will get you more work than you can handle. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I have an accent. I mean, I'm from Hampshire, and people always assume that people from Hampshire talk like a farmer, which I don't. I don't think I do anyway. maybe if I win the lottery, I'll grab the wife and kids and we'll bugger off to America. Buy a nice big house somewhere up there. Build myself a new Shedio and just airbrush all day every day, not have to worry about money. And just live stream 24/7. That'd be pretty sweet, wouldn't it? Most painters and illustrators struggle with the age of disposable art. People don't value artists' work. No, they don't, unfortunately. It's like very recently, actually, I was looking at like graphic designer jobs or like concept artists for the game industry and stuff like that, and it is. People's work is so undervalued, it's unbelievable. You're expected to come up with stuff in practically no time and you get paid very little for it, so you have to churn out huge quantities of work to make any sort of living at it, really. So I was quite taken aback at just how undervalued artists are these days. Especially with digital stuff now. For instance, if I was going to pursue, I don't know, a concept artist for the game industry, for example, everything's digital. Nobody does it traditional now because it takes too long. So it's all photoshopped. Sadly, traditional artists, it's just a for fun thing these days. Nobody's doing it professionally. It's all Photoshop. If I could become the next Drew Struzan, that'd be great. That would do movie posters. But I think a lot of airbrush artists would love to become the next him. It's like a dream job, that, isn't it? Just painting movie posters all day, every day. But again, you know, if a movie studio contacted you and said, we need a poster for this film, they would want it like tomorrow. So you would have to do it digitally because there wouldn't be time to do it traditionally unless you had a name for doing it traditionally, and that's why they came to you and they would be prepared to wait for you. Cool. So, let's see if we can get that on camera. Come on, focus. There we go. So all I've done is a black fade from the top. We've still got the blue showing through there, and then I've put a black line down the edge just to put like a 3D effect on it. It is a thick strap sort of thing. So. I think you should try lacquer. You'll never go back. Is it particularly smelly though, Liam? Because I'm in my dining room here, My poor wife, who's normally at work, she's got the night off tonight, she's sat about 12 feet behind me, so if it's particularly stinky, I'm going to stink out my front room. At least with this stuff, it's, you know, there's no smell sort of thing, so I would be worried about fumes, I think. And my husky has COPD, so I have to be careful what I put in the air. Yeah, it does stink, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'd probably have to... If I ever get another Shedio, I'll give it a go. Right. So that's her bra done, kind of. There's some red bits on it, which I'm going to do now. But that's pretty much all of that bit. So get rid of that black. And then we'll switch to some red. What are we doing for time? 8:05. Cool. Okay, and for the red, I'm going to use some ink. Liquitex Naphthol Crimson. It's got to be good with a name like that. But no tip dry, flows like water, covers like opaque. Yeah, it. I'm sure it has some really nice benefits. Need a separate studio and exhaust. Yeah, Liam. If ever I do get another Shedio, I'll definitely give it a go. So I've put 4 drops of that crimson in my paint pot. I'm just going to reduce it down a bit. Probably don't need to by much because ink is so thin anyway, but I'm going to add a bit of water just for good measure. Ink is almost the same as lacquer. I should use more inks. I don't use many inks because they're very transparent, and I like transparent, but I don't use it much. Right, managed to put that in there without getting it all over me, which is good. So we've got a red bit there and a red bit there, but this bit's really dark. So let's start with this bit. Like so. And then this bit over here. Be careful not to get too much overspray all over that little bit of her arm, because that would look weird. Liquitex have an opaque line of inks, do they? Ah. Lacroneos has been outlawed, so have to sneak it down from Canada. Oh, wow. We got the same sort of thing going on with tattoo ink at the moment. It's called REACH. R-E-A-C-H. All tattoo ink has to be REACH compliant now. They deemed that a certain blue and I think it was a blue and a red pigment were too risky to use in stuff. Lots of things, paints, inks, you name it, and lots of countries banned it. So the tattoo ink companies have had to come up with an alternative. So now all tattoo ink has to be REACH compliant. And the ones that aren't REACH compliant, they now slap a warning all over the labels that says not for use on humans. And of course you get that out in front of a client, they're like, you're not using that on me. Puts the fear of God into them, you know. They're like, what is that? Why is there a warning on it? And why are you about to inject it into my skin? It's like, well, it's been used for many, many years and there's never been a problem, but somebody somewhere there's an issue with it, and now they've all got this warning on them. And of course the REACH compliant inks are 20 quid a bottle instead of 7 quid a bottle. That bit's too red. I'm going to go in with some blue over that because these are quite purpley and that's bright red. I know the light's supposed to be hitting it, but it's just too red. I need to blue that down a bit. So does that mean you need to junk your non-REACH compliant ink? From what I gather, we've got a year to transition over. So no, because that would suck, because that would put me out of business. I don't have the money to replace all my inks. So yeah, I think they're giving us a year. So basically, as I'm running out of a colour, when I replace it, I'll make sure I replace it with a REACH compliant ink. And then in theory, technically, within a year I would have replaced all my inks. So we can have quite fancy coloured pork chops. Yes. There's thousands of dollars in investment, yeah. The whole world's just going to pot at the moment, isn't it? So I'm just mixing up a little bit of the blue again. Only a little bit though. I've put 1 drop of blue in, 1 drop of the reducer, and half a squirt of water, because I only need a little bit. Oh, what's that? Snowmo 1974 was that? Thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome to the stream. There we go. I don't know if that picked up on camera, but that bit was too red, so I've just dusted a light bit of blue over the top just to make it a bit more purpley, like that bit and that bit. I'm happy with that now. That looks cool. 1956 Willys 4x4, good evening. How are you? All good, I hope. Cool, so that's that. Dum. What next? I suppose either the tattoos or the hair. I suppose we should get the hair done, really, shouldn't we? And ironically, I would start with blue, which I've just got rid of. How dangerous can ink be? Jailbirds with big pens and toilet paper, ash as far as I see. Yeah, exactly that. Apparently there's no scientific evidence to say that these two pigments cause any problems. And obviously take this with a pinch of salt, because I could be very misinformed, but from what I've heard, the problem isn't with getting it tattooed. The problem is when you get it lasered, like laser tattoo removal. These two pigments, when they're hit with a laser, can release trace amounts of ammonium nitrate into your bloodstream or something like that. Like I say, take that with a pinch of salt. I could be wrong there, but from what I gather, that's the issue. So it's not even getting it tattooed, it's if you get it some laser removal on it. So surely if you use it and just say, don't ever get that lasered, or you could get cancer. You know, but again, there's no scientific evidence to say that it does it. Just some bloke somewhere in some lab has said, oh, that causes cancer, and everybody's lost their shit over it. All's well, how are you this fine evening? Not too bad. Officially became one of the unemployed today, but not too bad. Could be worse. Hopefully I'll have a new tattoo shop soon, and all will be well with the world again, and my kids won't starve in the meantime. I found the water-based paint brilliant once I got too used to it, but I don't like the water-based lacquer. I can't see how it can be done. Yeah, I've never tried the water-based lacquer myself, mate, so I can't really talk on that. And the water-based paint, as you all know, I really reduce it, because if I just use it straight out the bottle, I'm terrible with it. You know, I'm getting clogs, I'm getting spits, I'm getting like a horrible grainy texture to my paint. It's not smooth, so I paint with slightly coloured water, basically. Yeah, that's just the way I like to work. I started my tats with Indian ink and a sewing needle. Yeah. Yep. Proper old school, mate. Printer ink and a compass. Right, so let's tackle the hair, I reckon. Let's do the hair. So I'm going to put some more blue in my paint pot, even though I just emptied it of blue. Forward planning, people. We're going to need quite a bit though, so we'll fill the paint pot up. So we'll go for 1, 2, 3. Let's go for 4 drops of blue. Let's push the boat out and use a whole 4 drops. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 drops of the reducer. And then top the rest up with water. And spill it all over my jeans so it looks like I've wet myself. Brilliant. Slightly coloured water. That's what you drink over there. It is for the amount of sewage they're pumping into the ocean at the moment. It's ridiculous. Yeah, water companies over here are getting into a lot of trouble recently because they're pumping a lot of raw sewage into the oceans. And they're being very, very naughty. Not just you, the water-based paints suck. Yeah, they can be a bit finicky, can't they? There's definitely an art to using them, that's for sure. I got to admit though, no sponsorship or anything here, but I do really like the Createx illustration paints. Those and Trident. I do love Trident paints as well, but they're not that easy to get hold of over here. Okay, so hair. So again, I'll start with blue and then we're going with black over the top. But I'll be very careful here not to get any real overspray on her face. Lacquer, lacquer, lacquer. Are you a fan of lacquer, Liam? I get the impression you're a fan of lacquer. Concentration face, don't give her a blue nose. You need to know how to use water-based paint. One of the best painters in the USA says his only problem was he should have started using it earlier. Yeah, oh yeah, I do like using it. Definitely, it is my paint of choice, without a doubt. Obviously, I've never tried lacquer. Yeah, I've tried solvent and I didn't get along with it. It wasn't for me. I've always been a water-based guy. Back when I worked at a custom bike shop a few years ago, before I started on the tattoo journey, they were trying to switch all the car and bike painters over to water-based paint, moving away from solvent. I don't know if that went through or not, or whether they're back to using solvents or not. I got out of the industry, so I never saw the end of it. I don't know if they managed to actually switch over to all water-based or not. It's basically solid black, other than a strip of blue that's kind of down there like that. Yeah. She's going to look very odd for a little while because she's going to have blue hair. So when she comes on stream again, she's like, what the hell have you done to my hair? Because she popped in to say hello on Thursday, for people who weren't here. I cannot get used to any other brand water-based paint after using E-Tac for so many years now. The best so far has been... What's that? Schmink Aero Colour. Did I pronounce that right? Schmink. Yeah, that one. I've never tried that. E-Tac is great. All mine's getting a bit old now, but the flow you get from E-Tac, I've always been very impressed with. The only thing I didn't get along with very well was the rewritable part of it, but that was just a problem with me in the way I work. That was nothing to do with the paint. You know, the paint is designed to be rewritable. And it smells amazing as well. It smells like baby powder. Let's zoom in again so you can see what I'm doing. Zoom out a bit so it focuses. There we go. Clear coating / lacquering by law is supposed to be water based in the UK. Is it? Ah. Cool. See, last time I did any of that, it was all 2K stuff. Can you get E-Tac in the States? I'm not sure, mate. I think you can. Have a look for it. I do believe I've seen American artists using it. I could be wrong, but I'm sure I've seen American artists using it. We got a blockage somewhere, or a bit tip dry. Yeah, I've got some old ETAC private stock and FX. Yeah, that's exactly what I've got, private stock and FX. The amount of additives that you could get for it though got a bit confusing, I found. Like I was doing this, I just remember I was doing a guitar for a client once, and I wanted to make it a bit more stronger, get rid of the rewritable thing. So I thought I added like a transparent base to it, just to give it a bit more toughness. Turns out I added some stuff into it that stopped it from drying, so it stayed wet for about 2 weeks. It was like this pink, like really light pink liquid, and it just stopped it from drying. It was like oil paint. It took forever to dry. ETAC comes from the States. Oh, there you go then. Has it always come from the States? Back in the day of Organic Image and all that lot, when I brought my ETAC, didn't it come from Spain or something like that? I could be wrong there, but... I just remember their logo was like a rainbow cow or something like that, or a cow with a rainbow behind it, something like that. Never seen it before. Yeah, it flows beautifully, ETAC paint. You got a blockage or running fat paint? I think I got a bit of a blockage in my nozzle somewhere. Yeah, hence the dots. I suggest golden acrylics. Yep, golden acrylics are nice as well. I haven't used those for a good few years. So up against her flesh tones, I'm going in pretty tight, close to the paper, and keeping my spray pattern pretty tight because I don't want blue overspray going over her skin. If I move you over to the other side, you see there's like a blue hue, bit of overspray that's gone on the white there, but not on her skin. So that's because on that far edge I went a bit heavy, kind of like that kind of thing. But when you're close to the skin, bring it in closer, keep your spray pattern small, and it will stop that overspray going and ruin your flesh tones. Blue hair quite common now. Yeah, it is. Most of the models I know have some form of very colourful hair. Must be an absolute nightmare to look after. Keeping the colour looking vibrant and that lot. Another model mate of mine, Emma, her hair is insane. How she keeps it looking the way it does, I do not know. It must be so hard. Let's see if I can find her. Can't remember what she calls herself on Instagram now. Oh yeah, there she is. Let's find a nice picture of her where she's showing off her hair. Get it on screen. How nuts is that? That must be a nightmare to look after. Only 3 additives to get used to. One is a retarder, one is for toughening it up, and one a transparent base. Marissa Q in the Netherlands sold it under her name. I love Marissa's work. She is so talented. So talented. Really lovely lady as well. She's one of the airbrush artists that I am always in awe of. Her skill is just another level. It really is. I'd love to do one of Marissa's courses one day. She does them online now, doesn't she? I don't know how much they cost, but once I'm working again, I'll have to look into that. I've gone off camera. Sorry, I didn't realise that. You didn't miss much though. Here we go. Transparent base is really good with pearl and metallic. Yeah. Yeah, I used to like putting stuff in transparent base, like buying little pots of pigment and just having a play. Like the little colour changing pigments that, you know, look a different colour from a different angle and that sort of thing. I used to love mucking about with those. Because you could get like little pots of colour flipping pigment for just a few quid. They're only tiny little pots, about the size of your thumbnail, but you really didn't need a lot. A little went a long way. Cramp. Oh. Yeah, cool. So has anyone got anything exciting planned for tomorrow? How are you spending your weekend? I am gonna be totally rock and roll and go food shopping. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do after that. Normally I would answer messages on the Facebook page for the shop and sort out my diary. I don't need to do that tomorrow. Picking up my new Jeep that I waited 4 months for. Oh, nice. God, 4 months. That's a bit of a waiting time. My dad's just, well, I say just, he ordered himself a new car. He had a work car and he had to give it back because it got to the end of their lease, and he's decided to get himself one, but he ordered it like last July, and it's still in the factory. It's a Skoda, so it's is it in the Czech Republic? I can't remember where Skoda cars are made, but it's still there. It's like he has no car, and he chased up the leasing company, and they're like, oh yeah, sorry, we haven't got it. So he's been waiting since last July for his motor. Granddaughter's birthday, more expensive. Yeah. I'm very lucky I don't have any grandchildren. Not yet, anyway. My daughter's a bit too young for that sort of thing. And my son's not there yet, so I'm safe from that one at the moment. Want to see where my compressor is leaking air after I gave a new valve and start playing along. Ah, you got a leaky compressor, have you? That's the worst. I used to have that. I used to have a big old noisy, like industrial thing. that was like 90 decibels when you turned it on. It was so noisy. And that leaked air. That was a nightmare. So I hope you find your leak very quickly, mate. I shall be murdering my current every picture. Surely it's not that bad. Hopefully airbrushing when I finish my spray booth. Yeah, that'd be cool. Give it a little test run. Emma was very nice. Ah, you remember her. I'm just jealous of anyone with hair. I am going so grey. Here, I'm going really silver in these bits here. I'm going to be one of those blokes that's got like a white stripe down the side. Joy. The Germans are short on microchips for the car industry. Yeah, is there still like a worldwide shortage of microchips? I know there was not so long back, but nobody anywhere in the world could get hold of any microchips for stuff because they just couldn't get them shipped. That whole shipping issue. How are we doing for time? Ooh, 12 minutes to go. That's flown by again. I'm just doing loads of dagger strokes here in the way the hair's flowing, just to give me a bit of texture and stuff. And I'll be going over with a bit of black, probably on next stream. But she's got the shiny bit just above the flesh tone there, and then all this is black up the top. But had to talk with the leasing company that told that BMW was no go because they get their wiring harnesses from the Ukraine. Oh, that'll be a bit of a bugger. Yeah, they're not going to be getting any of them anytime soon. Time flies when I watch you paint. Yeah, it really does fly by quick, doesn't it, mate? It doesn't seem like 2 hours. That's why I changed it to 2 hours. 1 hour. It felt like 10 minutes. It was over so quickly. It's a big problem for Germany. VW owns Skoda. Oh yeah, it's going to have big repercussions for an awful lot of things, isn't it? This whole war. I hope it's over soon. Sadly, it doesn't look like it's going to be, but just feel sorry for all the people caught in the middle. Used by next gen Bob Hope. Is it Bob Hope or are you thinking of Bob Ross? In a big black afro. Paint lots of happy little trees everywhere. So sad about Bob Ross, isn't it? He made practically no money, from what I read, he made practically no money from his paintings. His family owned them all, and they're stuck in some Smithsonian somewhere. But his family own all the rights to all the paintings that he's done, and can you imagine how many paintings there are of his? That show of his just went on and on for season after season. So there must be hundreds and hundreds of his paintings, all sat in storage, and they're not doing anything with them, from what I believe. Hope was an actor, right? Yeah, I think Bob Hope was an actor. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Bob Ross was great. He really helped me out with a bonnet I did. During the last lockdown, I airbrushed a Volkswagen camper van bonnet for a mate of mine, and had a big tiger on one side and a sunset on the other with like a forest in the middle. And I was like, if I'm gonna airbrush all these trees, I'm gonna be here for years. So I've fired up Bob Ross, and there he was, you know, with his paintbrush painting his happy little trees. And I got one of those paintbrushes and I copied it, and I had all the trees done in a day, thanks to him. Otherwise I would have been there forever. Marvellous. That's probably all the blue in her hair done. What time we got? 5:02. So it's not really worth starting the black, really. I might just save that for next time, I reckon. Clean out Mr. Airbrush, because I don't know about you, but I am terrible for forgetting to clean out my airbrush. Now times I go to use it and there's dried up paint in the paint pot. Did you know his afro wasn't natural, by the way, Bob Ross? He did it one day, and then it kind of became his signature thing, so he kept it. But his hair wasn't naturally like that. I've seen that he had to paint each painting 3 times for the show. Yeah, I heard that as well. Yeah, because of the amount of takes and the different angles or something, he had to paint each one more than once. That would just drive you insane, wouldn't it? You'd just go nuts. You're gonna grow an afro. Yeah, my hair is very curly. I've got natural curls. There is a photo floating around of me on Facebook somewhere with long hair, and you can see how curly it is. Right, so I'm going to call it there, I think, guys. Let's zoom out so you can see what we got done. So she's got blue hair and she has a red bra on. In fact, if I switch to that camera, take these off of here and those off of there. There we go. The colours are a bit off, but you get the idea. So she now has a red bra, and she's got very blue hair. And then, yeah, next stream, it might be in a week somewhere, I'm not sure. We'll see how my week goes. But if I've got some spare time, then I'll stream again probably. Just keep your eye on my social media. I'll announce it all on there. Thanks for the live stream. See you next week. Cheers, matey. It was the bony M virus from the time growing hair like that. Yeah, totally. Cool. All right, then. You all take care. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for keeping me company and all that. Take it easy. And one of these things is my end screen. There it is. Say thanks to your missus for letting us borrow you. They said thank you for letting them borrow me. Take care, guys. See you next time.